Hello, Miss Burdick. I have been wondering why my son has not been placed into the gifted program. I was talking to other parents about something called differentiation. Could you please elaborate on this for me? I can certainly tell you about what a gifted classroom is and how we get to a gifted classroom. First off, the student needs to be nominated by a teacher or a guardian. Teacher completes a gifted characteristics checklist in our data warehouse. The school team reviews screening criteria. Our screening relies solely on the characteristics of the student that we have put into data warehouse. School teams meet and decide whether or not the student has the screening criteria. We have to have the 13 plus of the gifted characteristics out of 25. If the student meets the criteria, they need to obtain parental consent for evaluation and consent for screening. We see the school psychologist, they conduct a formal evaluation. The eligibility committee determines gifted eligibility. Student and parents then receive written notification if a student is eligible or ineligible. Parents are allowed to ask for a conference to discuss the evaluation process. Tests that we use in Collier County, are the SAT-10, the Kauffman Brief Intelligence Test, second edition. We do observations, conferences, and classroom performances. We use a handful of tests that are being provided by the state. The evaluation procedure may include individual assessment, classroom observation, and or parent-teacher information. So those are just a few of the things that we do to identify gifted learners. Now, you heard of differentiation. We practice differentiation in every classroom. We have our high students, we have our low students. We give them the supplementation that they need to succeed and move on to the next level. Differentiation can be said in so many different ways. Differentiation is key to creating a classroom environment where every student is learning to their best potential. Differentiation is not just used at the gifted level, but it is used at all levels. Debrief of what I just went over. I went ahead and used one of my my comparison and contrast chart that I did for this class. I went through the Collier County comparison contrast chart. I used Collier County's procedures to identify a gifted student. We have to tell parents the process, I believe, and I think I could have done that in a rather easier way than going through every single step, but I did, and the reflection maybe supportive or I don't disagree with the parent wanting to know what this meant, because most parents don't know what any of this means. And I tutor many different students across the county, and their parents have no idea why their son or child is failing a gifted class. Well, not probably supposed to be there. So this is my debrief. I'm gonna be the group. I couldn't find anybody, and my boyfriend would not participate in this. So you're telling me that gifted kids can get it on their own and don't really need special programs. Highly disagree with you on this one. We cannot just move a regular child to a gifted classroom. There's many factors that go into this. We need to look at the social and cognitive abilities of these children. One thing in particular that I do look at is the perfectionism of a child. Is a child a perfectionist to a T? Do they go home and repeat their homework and repeat their homework and repeat it till it is completely perfect and then turn it in? This is showing me signs of a gifted child. Giftedness, societal factors also take a major role in promoting or inhibiting the development of giftedness in students. Students like the teacher's support when doing a classroom project, talking with them, asking them rigorous questions, and then allowing for them to make their own hypothesis. And we have the enrichment programs that can have a positive effect of gifted students as well as mentors. There is no differentiation in the students. They are all placed with classmates not on the same level as them. The emotional part of a gifted student is that they are highly emotional. They take things to heart much more than a regular student would, because they know that they are in trouble and the outcome of the trouble. We can't just place these students into other classrooms. It wouldn't be fair to them. They would not get the enrichment, the supplementation, and the gifted teacher that they need. We can't just let gifted students go. They do still need some sort of direction and resources to help them grow and use their creativity as a student. So my answer to you is we can always screen for evaluations, but there's also the teacher aspect. Look at your students, see if they're progressing rapidly in an area, or two, or three, or just all over, and we can do the psychologist test to see if they're 2 standard deviations above the normal average, and then we can go from there. But students, gifted kids, cannot do it on their own. They do need special programs, and they need help from teachers, and they also need mentors. Well, I heard that gifted students can just be let alone. So why don't we let some of these regular students into gifted classes? That's my problem here. Gifted students are smart enough and they know what they're doing. They don't need any leadership or mentors. We can just let them do what they need to do. I mean, how hard is that? They're smart kids. I think we need more of our regulars in these gifted classes so that they can get, some gifted stuff. Plus, my class size is just too large. And, yeah, I don't want this many kids. Okay, debriefing on that. I had to make fun of that teacher, really, because they obviously have no idea. I had no idea coming into this about the social and cognitive effects that gifted children have. I had no idea that socially they don't carry outside of their group. Emotionally, they're perfectionists and they take things to heart way more than we do. They know when they're in trouble and they run and hide because they know the consequence of what they have done. For a teacher to say that a gifted kid can just go on their way is absolutely absurd to me. I think every child needs guidance. That's why in a gifted classroom you would set up stations, give them different areas of research, tell them what to do, give them rubrics. So that way they can go about their day knowing what to do, but not have the teacher hovering over them constantly. I had to throw in well, this student's smart and I have a huge classroom, because you hear that a lot. Yes, our gifted classrooms are much smaller, but that's not for the teacher to decide. It's for, in my other scenario, I showed the comparison contrast chart in scenario 1 that I did before. Now I'm doing scenario 3. I just believe that a lot of people need to be a little bit more educated on what they're doing, because this is education, and education is changing rapidly. We have to be able to teach even our fellow teachers what gifted education is. So that is my final thought on that.